Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Today we are going to continue the unit number 2, that is glory and hope. This is the second part, and we are starting from the paragraph that spiritual and physical oneness we all share with this common homeland explains the depth of the plan we all carried in our hearts as we saw our country tear itself apart in terrible conflict, as we saw it spurned underlined, spurned means rejected, deprived, outlawed. Outlawed is again deprivation from laws. They were failed to enjoy the laws and isolated by the peoples of the world. And he says that this is all because of the pernicious ideology. Pernicious means hateful, harmful ideology and practice of racism. So let me explain the whole paragraph. What is he discussing about? The spiritual and physical oneness. It is the question number 3. What is the discussion? He says that in the paragraph he is talking about the terrible conflict that they've been he calls this terrible conflict, that is racism, that they've been facing. Their discrimination and racism, that African have a different race and they are considered hateful. That is why they were discriminated and considered a hateful creature. And he calls this pernicious ideology. Pernicious means hateful ideology. And whose ideology was this? The approach and the ideology of apartheid. Apartheid, again, as I have explained to you, that it was the government from 1948 to 1963. This government ruled, and they had their own slogans, and this was the cruelty basically towards the African. He calls this pernicious ideology that they've been facing, and according to this ideology they've been considered spurned. Mean they've been rejected, hated, bitterness of the attitude they've been facing of these people, means the white men or the government of American he is talking about. And according to this pernicious apartheid cruelty or ideology, they've been outlawed, means they've been deprived from enjoying the rights and all the rules and laws of the country that was supposed to be enjoyed for everyone, whether black or white. But this is he is talking about that the spiritual and physical oneness, the Africans or they had this power. That is why they achieved today this freedom and this glory, and by after facing all these problems and trials and tribulations. So the next paragraph: we thank all our distinguished international guests for having come to take possessions with the people of our country. We trust that you will continue to stand by us as we tackle the challenges of building peace, prosperity, non-sexism, non-racism and democracy. We deeply appreciate the role that the masses of our people and their democratic, religious, women, youth, business, traditional and other leaders been playing. We would also like to pay tribute to security forces in all the ranks for the distinguished role they have played in securing our first democratic elections and the transition to democracy that from bloodthirsty forces. Let me explain what is he discussing. He says that in spite of all the difficulties that they've been facing, today they have been given the privilege, respect as being the host of all the nations. And you know that being the host of all the nations, he is referring basically that I make you recall that during that inauguration ceremony, every there were many people from all over the country, for all over the countries, so many people that gathered there, many leaders were there, and different people from different nations were there, and Africa was hosting them, and they came on the land of Africa, and this is the reward that he is talking about. And then he says that we are all thankful to, and he is to all the distinguished guests and so many people. Let me explain what is he saying. He says we achieved common victory just because they believed in justice, and they believed in justice, and they got peace for human dignity. Human dignity means that they believed in the nobility of human soul, and that is the reason they achieved prosperity, happiness, because they believed in non-sexism, non-racism, and democracy. Means they believe that men and women are equal, and it is not the laws are not meant for men only or women only, and everyone according to the law of God is created equal. So that is their faith and belief that they are enjoying the glory today. And then he says we appreciate people, women, men, youth, leader, and specifically Deputy President F.W.D. Clark, who was the president at that time and who been very much cooperative towards the blacks or African, and Nelson Mandela too. He is highly thankful to him as well, and specifically is thankful to the security forces that they very honestly and dedicatedly they helped in conducting the democratic elections, and for the first time let me make you recall that Africans were allowed to vote, and only due to this right that they achieved, they were able to elect the first president of Africa, that was Nelson Mandela. So he is thankful to everyone. Then the next paragraph, he says the time for the healing of the wounds has come. The moment to bridge the chasms mean gap, has come. We have at last achieved our political emancipation. We pledge mean we request ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, sufferings, gender and other discrimination. We succeeded at last to take step towards freedom. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete, just and lasting peace. Then what is it saying? Question number 4. What kind of freedom he is talking about? Let's start. He is talking about political freedom. Political freedom means that he is talking about, basically he is against racial discrimination, and according to this political discrimination he is political emancipation. He is talking about the political emancipation. Means that he wanted to get liberated, he wanted to get freedom from the apartheid ideology or apartheid approach. This was because you know that apartheid was ruling in the government, and that is why he wants the political emancipation, that until the government is not going to make the law equal for everyone, they will not be able to enjoy. So that is the why they wanted political emancipation or liberation or freedom. And according to apartheid policies, they were not even given right to vote. They were outlawed, and bossy kind of attitude you can observe in their slogans as well. So this is all that he is talking about, political emancipation. And due to the philosophy, the approach of ideology of apartheid movement, apartheid party, they were facing racial discrimination, and in the means they were facing poverty, gender discrimination, and they were considered skunk of the world. Means skunk mean a hateful creature they were considered, and they've been deprived of enjoying all the equal rights. So but he says wounds are healed and the chasms mean gap is fulfilled. Wounds, you look at the word, use of the word here, use of that the wounds are healed, that it means that this shows that he's not talking about the physical wounds, rather their souls were injured, they were injured from inside, and that is why he's talking about that human dignity. He stresses upon that human nobility of human mind and soul is more important, but all the wounds are healed now and the gap is fulfilled. Then next paragraph, he says that we have triumphed in the efforts to implant hope in the breast of the millions of our people. We enter into a covenant. Covenant means promise, that we shall build the society in which all South Africans, both black and white men, will be walked together and will have no fear, and we assure them of their inalienable rights to human dignity. A rainbow nation at peace with itself and the world. I repeat, a rainbow nation. Let's explain. What is a rainbow nation? Here in the paragraph, he is basically making the whole world recall the promise of Abraham Lincoln, the promise of in I Have a Dream, as you have read, of Martin Luther, and that end of Nelson Mandela as well, that all the leaders throughout their movements, they've been promising that one day they will be free. And here he is using the use of first person plural pronoun is there. I already explained you that the use of we commit to ourselves. Look at the construction. I'm reading the sentence again. We commit ourselves to the construction of a complete and lasting peace. Commit, construction and complete. Look at the use of alliteration here. Rhythm is there, and use of first person plural pronoun shows that he is talking about the unitedly, unity with unity, that he says that we achieved this glory that we are enjoying together. So then he says that if I again ask that what is the rainbow nation he is talking about, you can observe some rainbow colors in South African's flag. What does this depict? That rainbow colors means that there were in South Africa there were the people of different nations. But as rainbow colors, they give beauty, they present beautiful image, or they look beautiful to every eye. So this shows that by presenting this expression, the rainbow nation, and it shows the nobility of the mind of Nelson Mandela, that what a great personality and soul he had, that he is not talking about the Africans, rather he is talking about all the people of the world, all the peoples of the different nations that they were living in South Africa, that everyone is very colorful for them, everyone is very dignified for them, and he says that with peace and dignity they achieved this glory. And he is talking about the alienable rights, means non-transferable rights of African. These rights are not only transferable to the white men, are not made for the white men, but for everyone. And he says that grass has turned green, flowers are blossomed now, and this turning of grass into green and blossoming of flowers means that they are enjoying the glory today. He is making the world realize that they have finally achieved, and this is the beauty of the rainbow nation that gives a beautiful image and depiction to everyone. Next paragraph. As a token of commitment to the renewal of our country, the new interim government of national unity will address the issue of amnesty. Amnesty means forgiveness, general forgiveness for various categories of our people who are currently serving terms of imprisonment. We dedicate this day to all the heroes and heroines in the world. Their dreams have become true, and we are both humbled to the people of South Africa. We must therefore act together as united. Let there be justice for all. Let there be peace for all. Let there be work, bread, water and salt for all. Let each know that for each body, the mind and the soul have been freed to fulfill themselves. What a beautiful expression, what a beautiful collection of words there. So what is the announcement? He announces in the paragraph that a new government, new interim government is going to announce what? Is going to announce the amnesty of people. Amnesty means the general forgiveness of people. General forgiveness and amnesty means that he is talking about the imprisonment of all those heroes and heroines who have been kept as slaves during the movement that been continued throughout there in the history of Africa, specifically those who've been working with Nelson Mandela. And when Nelson Mandela was kept in jail, so many people, those who showed cooperation towards Nelson Mandela and those who've been showing resistance against the government, he wants general forgiveness for everyone. He is making them he is making or you can say that the government to recall this promise that every one will be freed, and each, because he believed that each body, mind and soul is free to fulfill or to enjoy the rights. Here is basically talking about or recalling the promise of Abraham Lincoln, as he said that from today everyone is free, forever free. And as Martin Luther says that you are free at last, and he himself, Nelson Mandela, been talking to everyone that never again anyone will be able to oppress them, to discriminate them, and we are finally free. So he is talking about all that those promises that everyone should be given forgiveness because every body, mind and soul is dignified. Then he says that freedom is the reward of their trials and tribulations. The victory he dedicates to all the African heroes and heroines. And then he says, look at the nobility of the mind of Nelson Mandela. He was really a philanthropist. He says, let there be work, water and bread and salt for all. He is talking about being the president of the South African nation. He is talking about the basic necessities of life. Means, look here, this is the quality of the great hero and the quality of the great leader, that he is talking about the basic necessities, water, bread and salt for everyone, whether that is a white person or a black one, but everyone first of all needs to be to have the basic necessities to be enjoyed. It means that how much pathetic condition there been for Africans, that they've even been deprived to enjoy the basic facilities and necessities of life that are inevitable and necessary for everyone, for every human being. So he wants everyone to enjoy these necessities. But again he says that, as I told you, that the dignity, nobility and purity of the soul and mind of Nelson Mandela is highlighted and depicted here. The last paragraph, what a beautiful expression, and the end of the speech. Never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression means cruelty, of one by another, and suffer the indignity of being the skunk of the world. Skunk of the world means that they will never allow anyone, never, never and never. Look at the stress and repetition of the phrase, that they will never face, or they will never be indignified. Skunk is what? Skunk is the sense of embarrassment, because skunk, they were considered smelly creature. Skunk is a kind of smelly creature, or disgusting or hateful person, that the one who is considered savage, barbaric, hateful. This is all about skunk. And he says that never, never they will be oppressed and discriminated. So what is the significance of the last sentence? The sun shall never set on so glorious a human achievement. Let freedom reign. Let freedom reign. The significance is that he is giving the message of unity. First of all, unity by the use of first person plural pronoun. We are free. We understand. We act together. We are united people. So this sense of unity at the end of the speech makes his speech more effective and powerful. More, it leaves an everlasting impact. That human, he is talking about the human achievement, means human body, human soul and human mind is very much important. And he says that he achieved, the Africans have achieved this glory and this liberty and freedom for all the humanity, for every one in the world who is kept as slave, who is considered as the skunk of the skunk of the world. And he says, let freedom reign. Look here, this is an imperative sentence, a declarative sentence. Reign means to govern. This shows that he had strong faith in justice, he has strong faith in equality, he has strong faith of the law of God, that all men are created equal. So that is why he is declaring, he is announcing that the freedom will be ruling after that in Africa, and no one is allowed to occupy any African after that, to discriminate or degrade anyone. So freedom, this is the freedom from occupation of the white rule, of the apartheid system, of the apartheid rule. So this is the significance that he has announced, let freedom reign in the country. What a strong faith. And he is making the world realize that this is the world which all have been ignoring them throughout their movement, throughout their history. If we look back in 3 centuries back, this is the world that who been considering them the skunk of the world, and today they are enjoying the glory for everyone in the world, and everyone in the world is enjoying this freedom and glory with along with Africans. And at the end he says, God bless Africa. This is the strong faith that he had, not only in his abilities and capabilities, but in all Africans. And he is praying to God, he is wishing that may God bless Africa, and may Africans always enjoy the freedom. And again I am making you recall the title of the speech, Glory and Hope. And he is wishing and praying to God that may this glory be always enjoyed by all Africans. And hope is the glory and hope. Hope means that again he is hopeful, he is having the strong faith, that this conviction that he is hoping that in the world no one ever would be able to discriminate them, to degrade them, or to make them consider, to make them realize that they are the skunk of the world. And that is why he says, never, never and never again will anyone oppress them. So hopefully you have understood all the questions, all the significant paragraphs, all the thought and philosophy and approach behind this speech. May God bless everyone, and may God bless Africa. Thank you so much, and Allah Hafiz.